relations would stick. And what's even more fascinating is that slowly but surely people actually start believing this man. And the people of Makkah start saying, this cult is getting bigger. We don't like this. And on top of that, this revelation doesn't just talk about God and spirituality. It doesn't just talk about prayer. It starts talking about some of the most evil practices taking place in the city of Mecca by the most powerful in Mecca. The most powerful in Mecca were corrupt business people. Revelation starts coming about those who will suffer in the fire of hell because they shortchange their customers in the goods they sell them. وَيْلٌ لِلْمُطَفِّفِينَ. What horrible end will those meet that shortchange their customers? Quran started talking about economic ethics. Earliest revelations. It started talking about one of the disgusting practices that were there in the pagan culture, where that daughters, if you have a daughter born in your family, it's a sign that you're not really a man. It's embarrassing. Because she's going to marry somebody else in somebody else's family, so it's like it's beneath you. If you're a real man, you'll have sons. So they had this heinous practice of burying their daughters alive. And this was done by some of the most powerful because they were really big on their reputation. So you couldn't even criticize them because they were in such positions of power. Earliest revelations, when Judgment Day happens, and all humanity is gathered, and that poor innocent baby girl that was buried alive will be asked, what crime were you killed for? And that revelation starts getting pronounced up publicly, in the most public of spaces. This message, this revelation is shaking things up. It's stirring things up in that society. And so his career of 23 years, I'm going to give you the summarized version because we're pretty much out of time. His career, in 23 years, something fundamentally changed in that society. Something fundamentally changed. The way they conduct their economic practices, the way they respect the dignity of human life, the way they look towards women, the way they wake up and the way they go to sleep, the way they take care of their own, what they consume, what goes inside of their bodies, the way they buy and the way they sell, the way they walk and the way they talk, the way they dress, the way they think, everything suffers, or everything goes through a fundamental shift. Within how long? 23 years. The man started this mission at the age of 40, and by the age of 63, when God called him, this mission was already completed. And he charged those hundreds of thousands that were already following him within those few years, within that short span. And by the way, 12 years into the mission, there were less than 100. 12 years into the mission, you have at the most maybe 100 something. That's it. That's halfway in. And then the next 10 years is a few 100,000. There's an incredible influx. Incredible influx. And God called it way before. People will be entering into the faith in multitudes. They will be entering into it in multitudes. I'm going to conclude where I started. In the last year of his life, his worldly life, the Prophet ﷺ performed what is called the pilgrimage, the Hajj. Okay? And when he performs this pilgrimage, he teaches us the rituals of that pilgrimage. We are to go around and commemorate the house of God built by who? Abraham. Then we are to go run between the two peaks of Safa and Marwa. These are names of small hills. To commemorate the running that his wife Hagar had to do looking for water. She runs looking for water 7 times, and the Muslims were to run 7 times to commemorate her struggle. Then he teaches us to go to 3 monuments and pelt them in a particular order. In a particular order to pelt them. Commemorating the practice of what? Do you recall? Abraham and his struggle against the devil. And then when all of this is done, to commemorate and celebrate, you are to slaughter an animal and give the meat in charity. Commemorating what? Sacrifice of Abraham. I just came from Hajj this year. 4 million other Muslims were there. And we commemorated the legacy of Abraham as fulfilled by Muhammad. If you want to know who Muhammad is, you have to know who Abraham is. And if you really know who Abraham is, it becomes very easy to know who Muhammad is. And when I say that Muslims are a people, the people of Abraham, Muslims are the people that celebrate the legacy of Abraham. I got 4 million people that can prove it to you every year. At least, that's a low ball number. That's the official estimate. Every single year. Those of you that haven't had the opportunity to go, I pray that you do get the opportunity to go. That Allah makes those means open for you. Because what an incredible experience that is. One last bit I want to share with you what's special about the city of Makkah. Besides that, I mean, that's special enough. But in that region, there's a field. I'm going to end with this one, okay? In that region, there's a field. That field is called Arafah. Arafah. It's interesting that it's called Arafah. Because the word Arafah in the Arabic language means recognition. From Ma'rifah. Recognition. Muslim faith dictates that when God created the souls of all humanity, He gathered them in the field of Arafah. And He asked them the question, am I not your Lord? And all of us recognized who God really is. And all of us said, of course, we bear witness. That was the field. And that is the field we go and stand on the day of Arafah in our pilgrimage and pray. And that is the field we believe that we will stand before God to be judged and to be shown mercy. Bi-idhnillah, by Allah's leave, all of us to be shown mercy and to be put under His shade on the day of judgment. That's the field. That's the place where all of it began. That's the place where all of it's going to end. I pray for those of you that are non-Muslims in the audience, I want to thank you for coming. And I hope you're not intimidated by this incredibly large population of very different looking people. And I do want to recommend, in my opinion, one of the easier biographies of the Prophet to read, and I think you'll enjoy it, is by Martin Lings. If you look up Martin Lings, the biography is called Muhammad. I think you'll enjoy reading it, and it's a good, easy introduction to who he was from a Muslim perspective. And I do recommend, one last thing I'll tell you is, a lot is being said about Islam, about Muhammad, by so many people, and it's true. And there's no way I can stop that or tell you don't listen to this or don't listen to that. I can't. But I can recommend one thing. If I wanted to know about Christianity, I wouldn't read a book written by a Muslim. I don't think that's fair. If I wanted to know about Judaism, I don't think I'd read a book written by a Christian. If I wanted to read a book about Hinduism, I wouldn't read something written by a Muslim. Because I don't think that's fair. Because that's not genuinely offering the perspective. Fine, you have rights to criticize and to look from the outsider's perspective. But before you do, let's hear it from the horse's mouth and just make sure the horse is Muslim. You know, so that at least you have a genuine perspective, and then we welcome discourse. We really do. And I hope I'm able to answer some of your questions and concerns. My concern when they invited me to speak here was I'm really not qualified for the subject. So I can share something with you on behalf of the average Muslim, really. So if you have questions that are basically above my intellectual grade, I will humbly request that you give me your contact information, and I try to get you in touch with someone who can actually answer your questions, but I hope I can yield them to some extent. Thank you so very much for listening attentively. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi.